Hello. In the last recording, we looked at how we could convert lesion data in using pivot tables into a period prevalence for some benchmarking and comparative purposes. Now what I want to do is show you how you can look at some lesion trends, again using pivot tables but also pivot charts. So I'm going to go back to the raw data. Here we've got the raw data. This time I'm going to just look at the 2020 data. So I'm selecting the 2020 data, which we would need to copy and paste. So we've copied and pasted that already. So here it is in a table here. And now I'm going to insert a pivot chart. Before I do that, I just want to create some additional fields. So I'm just going to create two columns there, one of which will be month, the other one will be year, and I'm going to put month, just type month in there. You can see that the function's popped up. I'm going to open the bracket and click on that, hit return, and now it's going to put this in a strange format. Don't panic about this. So there, it's put it in a date format. Just right click, format cells, click on number and select no decimal points because we're just interested in the month integer. What we could do is we can insert a column here and that, oh no, it won't do. Let's undo. Let's insert a column here and it might just remember the formatting from there. We'll see. Not tried this before. So now we're going to do the same. We're going to just convert that date into a year. There we go. Oh, it has worked. So let's get rid of that column. Highlight those two and shrink them down. Now we highlight these two cells. We can double click on that. Just check, has it populated it all the way down? Oh, I've gone too far. Let's scroll down 1,000 cows. Oh, it's a bit more than 1,000 cows. There we go. So it's populated that right to the bottom. So next thing we want to do, highlight all our data. Insert, this time rather than pivot table, we're going to go to pivot chart. It's opened up a box as before, just new sheet, and this time I'm going to call it pivot chart 2020. I'll click on the pivot chart. It's going to ask us to do the same thing as before. This time I'm going to put months and years on the bottom. So let's see what this does. So it's popped. I put year in first and then month. Actually, we didn't need year, but if you're doing analysis over multiple years, then this can be quite useful. But we're just looking at events for this 12 months period in this case, and we want to populate that with health events. So let's put health events in the legend, and so here they all are, and we will then drag the disease dates so it counts the number of the disease events for each of those lesions. Next thing is, this looks a bit messy, so we want to change the pivot chart type. So at the top here you'll see under the pivot chart tools there's a few different options. Have a play around with all of this. If we go to design, click on chart type, and we can do a stacked bar chart. I love stacked bar charts, and isn't that pretty? Now what we've got here, we want to drag this down so we can see all the lesions, and we get to see what went wrong last year. And last year was pretty challenging, I think I mentioned in the previous recording, for a number of reasons. So yeah, there was some staffing challenges, but there was some pretty dramatic heat challenges through August and September. So what we're interested in are some of these predominant lesions. What we can do is we can filter. Let's just look at the main lesions that we're interested in, which are digital dermatitis, sole ulcer, sole fracture, which is the foot trimmer's means of recording a heel ulcer, white line lesion. I think we will leave the others for now, but we might want to come back to some of the others. We could look at bruised sole. I think bruised soles for this herd are a little bit under recorded. So what we've got here, we can see the struggles we had with digital dermatitis until we tweaked the protocols a little bit, and wow, what a difference that made. You look at sole ulcers really became a struggle with the heat, so we maybe need to look at what's going on with the heat. And then the white line lesions came also off the back of the heat last summer, as did the sole fractures. So that to me is the area that we need to really focus on. We've tackled the digital dermatitis, which is really good news. But now let's work out what's going on with the heat abatement. We could have a go at replicating this. In this case, we can look at all the data. Let's have a go at doing that. So we'll go back to all the raw data. Let's remove all the filters, and we'll highlight all of that. Insert. Oh, what we haven't got. Let me do this again. I need to insert month. Almost forgot to do that. Let's change the format. Drop down box gave me format, number, reduce it to 0 decimal points. Now we'll insert another, oh, not that way, undo. Click on this one, insert. Now that should keep the formatting from that other side. Year equals that. Now we've got both of those. Click on this black square in the bottom right there, and that should populate all of our spreadsheet. Oh, it's added one on the bottom there. Let's delete that one. Next thing we do, highlight all the data, insert pivot chart into a new worksheet. Let's label it pivot chart all data. We'll do the same thing again. We'll drag the year down. Now this should make more sense. Then the month. Then we put the health event in the legends, and then the disease date as the means of counting. We'll click on this chart. We'll go up to design, change chart type to stacked bar chart. Click OK. Let's drag this down and have a look at what we've got. So now we've got 2019, 2020, 21. Now they switched over to uniform in spring 2019, so we haven't got much data at this point here, and it really wasn't, I don't believe it was until July that we started to get some meaningful data. what we can do here is we could try and filter some of this out from the raw data, or we just accept we're going to ignore that going forward. Let's we could remove the blank. I've picked the drop down box there. Let's remove the blank. We didn't need the blank there. And we can also go over to our legends, and we can just pick out the ones that we're interested in. So let's pick out digital dermatitis, white line, sole fracture, sole ulcer. And so again, we can really see that digital dermatitis was such a problem through 2019, the first part of 2020, until we really properly got on top of the protocol, and that's fallen away. We can also see the white line lesions. We've had certain bad times with the white line lesions, but particularly last year following the heat stress there. But that's fallen away, and we've got things much more under sort of normal control. What we ought to add in there is thin soles, because we recognise thin soles were a problem at the start of this year. So let's have a look at thin soles. Thin soles now have become the orange. So there, January this year, December last year, we had a real issue with thin soles, but sporadically at other times. So end of winter there, January, February that year. So that there's some seasonal thin sole problems that we need to look into, and that's probably, I would suggest, down to the lighting in this instance. So there, one wonderful way of using spreadsheets to and pivot charts to look at the seasonality of lesion events. And I hope you found this useful. If you've got any questions, then do get in touch. Okay, thank you very much.